Hello friends, I'm excited to be with you in another video. In the previous video we got an idea about what is C#, what is .NET framework. We understood about the structure of .NET framework and stuff like that. And if you guys don't know what is C# and what is .NET framework, I recommend you guys to first watch that video, then continue in this video. I'm going to put the link down below, and also you can click on the I button on the top right corner here to watch the video. In the previous video we talked about why should we learn C# and what are the benefits of C#. As we said, C# is one of the most powerful and most used programming language in today's industry. It is modern general purpose programming language. It's object oriented, it's easy to learn. It's the application developed using C# are cross platform. Also it is part of the .NET framework, which is very important. Then it has the concept of automatic garbage collection. We don't have to worry about memory management and stuff like that. And then it supports the generic concept, multi-threading, link, lambda expression, and many more. Then we learned about .NET framework. We got an idea about what is .NET framework and what is the architecture of .NET framework, what is happening behind the scene when we make a C# application using the .NET framework. So basically applications made using the .NET framework are cross-platform, which is a big and huge advantage. We can create application and run it everywhere. Then the other advantage of .NET framework was that it is very easy to bring third-party libraries in our project. It also provides huge support in terms of libraries, interfaces, and packages. We can easily import them and use them in our project. We can develop different type of application using the .NET framework. We can develop mobile application, desktop application, GUI application, web application, AI, IoT, etc. Also, it's very easy to develop applications within the .NET framework. So in this video, we are going to set up our development environment. We are going to install Visual Studio IDE to start programming in C#. So as we said, Visual Studio is an integrated development environment with enriched features. Basically, Visual Studio supports many aspects of software development. The Visual Studio IDE is very creative tools and code editor. We can use to edit, debug, and build code, and then publish our applications. It comes with a lot of good features that we can use during our application development. Studio, go to Google and write Visual Studio. Here you have to go to the website where it says visualstudio.microsoft. Go to the Microsoft website. Here you can see different version or different type of Visual Studio. We have Visual Studio for Windows, Visual Studio for Mac operating system, and V is Studio Code, Visual Studio Code. One thing, do not get confused that Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio are two different programs. Visual Studio is a complete IDE that comes with a compiler that we can compile and run our code. VS Code is a simple, lightweight text editor that we can write code. It doesn't come with a compiler, so it's a different product, and this is a different product. Throughout this course, we are going to use Visual Studio. Depending on your operating system, you can download any version you want. Since I'm using Windows operating system, I'm going to download Visual Studio for Windows. So there are different versions of Visual Studio. These are not free. Only the community version is free. So we are going to download Visual Studio community version. Click on that. It is going to download the .exe file or the installer file for us. Once the download is complete, double click on this file, click yes, continue. As we saw, there are different editions of Visual Studio. There are Visual Studio for Mac operating system, there are Visual Studio for Windows operating system. Visual Studio for Mac has many same features as Visual Studio for Windows. and it's optimized for developing cross-platform and mobile applications. So in this video, we are going in this page we are going to select desktop .NET desktop development. As we said, Visual Studio is a very powerful application through which we can develop different type of softwares. We can develop ASP.NET web applications, mobile application, different type of applications. For this video and for this tutorials, we are going to select only the .NET development environment. The .NET desktop development one is gonna take like 6.37 GBs, and if we select all of them, it's gonna use a lot of space in our computers, and we don't need it for this video. We can write Python applications using Visual Studio and many more. So for this video, we're going to select only .NET desktop development and select install, and also make sure that you select install while downloading here. Click install. So while it is downloading and installing, let's talk a little bit about the cool features of Visual Studio and why we selected this IDE for this course. And it's really one of the coolest IDEs I have ever used. So I have used different type of IDEs, but Visual Studio is one of the most powerful and easy to use. So while it is downloading, let's talk about some cool features of the Visual Studio IDE. One of the cool features that I really like is the refactoring feature. Refactoring includes operations such as intelligent renaming of variables, extracting one or more lines of code into new method. Basically, if we have a variable and we have used a variable or a function name in 1,000 different places throughout our project, and if we decide to rename the variable or function name, we don't have to go through all the lines of codes and rename them one by one. The refactoring feature of Visual Studio allows us to rename all the variables at once. The other cool feature about Visual Studio is that it supports auto-completion and IntelliSense, which makes the development process very easy, and we don't have to type the whole long names. By typing only first or second letter of the name and pressing tab, we can autocomplete writing a line of code. Then Visual Studio has the feature of search, where we can access to search by pressing Ctrl Q, and we can search a file within a project or a variable name or a function name, which is very cool. Then it has the feature of live share that we can collaboratively edit code with our peers and group of engineers. We can go live and share our code and debug the code live. So it has a lot of cool features. As we go through this course, we will discuss and learn about every cool features that Visual Studio has. Our installation process is about to complete. Once the installation is complete, we are going to run our Visual Studio, and we will make our first simple C# program. So once the installation is completed, Visual Studio will open, and we can create our project here. So I'm going to show you a very quick demo project here. Then in the next video, I will in detail explain everything, what are these and how we can create projects using Visual Studio. So we're going to create a simple console application here. Then click next. You can give a name to your project and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about all these in details in the next video. This Visual Studio is going to set up our project and the different parts that is created by Visual Studio. So once you create your project, a page like this will pop up. This is our project setup. So in this demo project, I'm going to show you how we can print a simple message on the console. In order to print a message, we write console.writeLine and we pass a string here. This is the demo project, and don't forget to end each statement with a semicolon. Console dot read line. And if you guys don't understand all these, don't worry, in the next video I'm going to explain everything. What is console, what is right or what's right line, what is read line doing, and stuff like that. I'm going to explain what are all these codes, so what's happening inside our project. So don't worry about all these now. In order to run our project, we can simply click on a start button here. As we can say, our message is printed. This was setting up the development environment and installing Visual Studio IDE. So in the next video we'll start our C# tutorials and we'll create our first application. I'm so excited, guys.